Welcome to this episode of Ask the Guitar Coach, the only podcast where you get answers to all your guitar-related questions. If you're interested in developing your guitar skills and reaching your music goals, please send me an email at the email address ioannis@ioannis.org. That is ioannis@ioannis.org, so that I can let you know about all the different packages of elite guitar coaching and how you can get private coaching by me. Without further ado, let's go to our question for the day. 5 actual reasons to upgrade to a more expensive guitar. So today we're going to talk about 5 real-world reasons to upgrade to a better guitar, to a more expensive guitar, to a high-end instrument. Now, when we talk about real-world reasons, I don't mean like wanting to show off to your friends or your girlfriend. I don't mean just you wanting emotionally just to have a specific guitar, even though this might play a little bit of role. But I'm talking about like real-world applications, the actual difference it's going to do in your day-to-day use and operation with this specific instrument. So, without further ado, let's get started with reason number 1. Reason number 1 is playability. Now, playability refers to the ease of playing and the usability of the instrument. Most of that has to do with the neck and the frets. But it's not just, oh, the frets are good, the neck is good, it's the combination of all those things. And how much this helps you play for longer periods of time and enjoy more your playing. I always talk about playability, and many people ask me about that. Basically, it's the ease of playing of your instrument and the ease with which you can create the sounds you want. So, a more expensive instrument will have more refined playability. It's something that I've seen on several guitars, even the same necks on higher end models, they're just better buffed, the frets are better buffed, they're more even, they're more even on the top side, on the lower side, the guitars are better set up, so a higher quality instrument, a more expensive instrument will have, not in all cases, but a really good reason to get a higher quality instrument, a higher price instrument, is because you might have better playability. You definitely need to check it out, but it's much more likely that it's going to happen. So to give a specific example, my experience with playing an Epiphone Les Paul with a Gibson Les Paul is very, very different. Most of the Epiphone Les Pauls I've played, I find they have very bad playability, while the Gibson Les Paul, especially the expensive models, they have very good playability. Going to number 2, sound quality. And sound quality is something that is kind of difficult to measure, but it's one of those things that you know it when you see it, or in this case, when you hear it. What do I mean by sound quality? Well, it's a combination of things. Funnily enough, the quality of the wood does play a role, but it's much of a lesser role than most people would think. What really plays a big role is the quality of the construction, which we'll talk about later, but also the electronics, the quality of the electronics, the quality of shielding inside the guitar, obviously the quality of the pickups, but something very important, the quality of the metal parts. So this is very, very important. If a cheap guitar will have guitar parts made of pop metal, like very thin quality metal, not good quality metal, while a more expensive guitar, a high-end guitar, will have solid metal pieces that help it resonate much, much better. Which also, just to make a note here, is one of the first things you should be changing in a cheap guitar if you want to keep it and get more value out of it and get better sound, is to change the metal parts into better quality metal parts. So in a high-end guitar, in an expensive guitar, those parts are going to be of higher quality, so the sound is going to be better. And this is a really good reason to upgrade to a better quality, to a higher price guitar. Reason number 3 has to do with the build quality. Now, the build quality just reflects and ends up being a more consistent output all around from the guitar, which means tuning stability, it means less problems, structural problems on the neck, on the fretboard, of the frets, on the tuning pegs, just about everything. If the build quality is better, basically what it means is the guitar is better built. So there are less problems with it overall. For example, a cheap Fender guitar would always be losing its tuning, especially on the G string if you're bending it, and while a more expensive model will have this thing handled by using a better material on the right here on the nut and a better material right here on the bridge. So this is a significant difference, because on the cheap guitar you wouldn't have to be like constantly tuning between songs or even in the middle of songs, while with a better quality and more expensive guitar, we're kind of equating that for this video, you wouldn't need to worry about that. So better build means better consistency of experience from the instrument. It doesn't necessarily mean better playability. I've played guitars that were excellent built, but they were really unplayable for my kind of playing. So it's not the same thing, but it translates, this is the word I was looking for, to a more consistent experience from the instrument. So having a better build quality would be the third reason I would choose a more expensive instrument. And let's move on to number 4. And number 4 is much more intangible. And this has to do with upgrading the player's willpower to play with this instrument. I know that every time I get a new guitar, no matter the quality, although I usually try to get good quality guitars because I have no reason to not get good quality guitars, I am excited about it. So excitement means more willpower. So instead of playing like half an hour with the guitar, I would end up playing 2.5 hours, which means more playing, which means better results, more projects completed, and all these things. So even though this is kind of an intangible thing, it has, like you cannot measure it, it has measurable results. Because if you're excited about the guitar and you play like 5 times as much, you're gonna have 5 times as much results. And that's kind of an important thing. Now, slowly we're moving to more intangible things as we're nearing the end of the video. We only have one more thing. But again, I will stress that this is fairly important. And now we're gonna move on to number 5, which is pretty similar to number 4, but it has a different effect. Let's see. Number 5 is that you like the looks, the brand, and the feel of the guitar. You like how it makes you feel. Now, this doesn't have to do with being excited because it's a new thing. It's not a novelty effect, but you enjoy the guitar. Like for example, this is a PRS guitar, okay, an SE. So I've always kind of, when I see one of those guitars, I think of Carlos Santana. And I see that when I play with this guitar, my playing tends to sound a little bit like Carlos Santana because it's kind of the back of my mind and it gets me excited. And I like the feel, I like the look, I like when I take pictures with it. So it gets me again more interested. Now, once you've been playing for a few years, you will see it that you still like guitar, but it's not the same difficulty. It's more difficult to get excited about it. And if you're holding a guitar that has always been a dream for you, even if the actual playability is similar to the previous guitar, you just want to be more with this guitar. So you kind of revert back to being a little kid or a teenager that used to play guitar all day. Once again, this doesn't have to do with the novelty. The novelty effect would be the same with every guitar. But if this is a guitar, it's a goal for you for many years, it's going to keep you glued to the guitar for a long time. So even though it sounds, and I'm really trying to make a point here, it's difficult to explain, even though it sounds as if you're doing it because you like how it looks, or because of the social proof you're going to have with people seeing you playing a high-end guitar, what it really translates to is something very real world, which is more playing time and more focus on the instrument. While with another guitar, with your old guitar, you might be like noodling in front of the TV. With a new guitar that you always wanted to buy, you're gonna be much more serious about it and pay attention to the sound, pay attention to the notes, play more hours. It's much more specific and it's much more effective. So there you have it. 5 reasons why you should get a higher quality, a more expensive guitar for your playing. This doesn't mean that if you have a cheaper guitar, it won't do the work. Now, even though I said I will say 5 reasons, I will give the next 6th one as a bonus. And the 6th one is something that I've seen with several players. And this is that they get stuck on their original guitars. Usually not their very first one, because really the first guitar is usually crap, so after a few months they're like sick and tired of it and they get a better one. But the second guitar is kind of dangerous, because this is the guitar they learn on and then they become really attached to it and they never let it go. To tell you the truth, I still have my second guitar. It was an Ioannis Paul Stanley model, very good guitar. I still have it, like it's right there, and I don't play with it anymore, or I do it very rarely, but I still keep it. So many people will still keep on playing with that guitar and keep it as their main guitar, and this is not a good thing, because now they have outgrown the guitar by a lot of ground, so the guitar is keeping them back. So the 6th reason I would say for getting a good guitar, a more expensive one, is to help you understand that you have outgrown your main guitar, your main so far guitar. So there you have it. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you on the next episode of Ask the Guitar Coach. Until then, keep sending me your questions and I will make sure I answer them in upcoming videos. Bye bye.